Well, hi everyone. Jamie here, Jamie Brewster's musical heroes, and I've got one of my musical heroes here this afternoon or this morning, depending where you are in the world, and it's Nelson Bragg. So, welcome Nelson to my little channel, to the show. It's great to see you.
You too. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
Can't complain. I have a day off today, so free as a bird.
Wow, that's great. Well, it's absolutely fantastic to see you, and been talking with some of your colleagues and bandmates over the last few months, and you were very, very kind enough to say yes to having a chat. So I hope everyone enjoys our little chat today and all of your musical experiences. And I'd like to start first asking you, Nelson, where did your musical beginnings start? Where are your roots in music?
Probably the radio.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
it was pretty thrilling to listen to the radio in the early '70s and late '60s.
Okay.
Uh, and I mean, my father was a disc jockey,
Okay.
an presenter, as you may call him, an announcer.
Yeah.
So radio was a big deal in our family. And but the music he played was sort of boring. I didn't really like it, but we ended up listening to the radio a lot anyway, just as a family, like
Okay.
they used to in the '40s and '50s.
Mm.
And that song "Counting Flowers on the Wall" by the
Yeah.
Stat. I don't know if you remember that.
I
It was
do.
a big
Yeah.
'65. That was the first time I heard anything that uh, resembled something I could get excited about.
Okay.
That was it. And then the next time a song affected me was um, Uncle Albert by Paul McCartney.
Okay. All right. Wow.
And from wanted to play drums. I wanted to play drums, and so I spent the rest of the '70s trying to figure out a way to get a drum set. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow. Interesting. And have you got any brothers or sisters in music at all, or are you it?
Twin sister, but she is not a musician.
Okay.
She is a family person, so she created a family and stuff. Whereas I went to college,
Yeah.
chose a music. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So have you got qualifications in music then?
I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts, as
Well,
worthless
just
as that may
well.
be. It certainly informed me that um, I learned a lot. I actually learned quite a bit. Seemed a little,
Excellent.
it was a liberal arts college in upstate New York. So
Yeah,
it was
because you were
very,
originally from the east side, weren't you?
yeah,
Born and bred.
yeah.
Okay. And did you, when you first started working, was your work connected to music, or did you do something completely different?
I was a cook for 20 years.
Wow,
Yeah, I cooked for 20 years, and then I was a printer. I printed T-shirts just like this one for 10
that's a
years.
lovely. I love that shirt, man. I'm going to swap you. I'll send you. I think I've got a. I don't know what mine is now. I think mine is a. Oh, I don't know what it is. I can't remember what it is. It's me on it. You wouldn't want that, but I love that. That's great.
I'll see what if I can find one for you somehow.
Oh, bless you. I'll send you a Polaris shirt. I'll talk about that later, maybe. Anyways, carry on, please.
I've got a connection in the band.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised.
So
So
anyway,
so you're cooking and printing.
yeah, yeah. And then, all the while I was playing in bands,
Mm,
trying to get a record deal.
Mm.
which was possible back then.
Yeah.
Now, you get a million TikTok followers. So uh, we didn't have to think about that. We just thought, well, we'll just play gigs and work
Yeah.
as hard as we rehearsing all the time, 3 days a week, whatever.
Sure.
And if
Mm.
we play for the right people at the right time with the right energy or whatever, um, we'll get a record deal. We'll never have to work again.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's
man.
a legitimate dream that people worked
Abs-
for. And it was
Absolutely.
real. It was exciting, actually, because the tension, was like, everyone had a job. I was in charge of putting the press kits together. We called them press kits.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Take a graph and a letter.
Right.
We'd send them out, mail them out, and then we'd
Yeah.
get rejection notices from labels.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard. Really, really hard. So, I mean, you've played with loads of guys, haven't you? I mean, the list. I mean, I think it's just on Wikipedia because I had to refresh myself on what you'd done, who you'd played with. But you've played with loads of different people.
Yeah, I mean, it was local. I was playing drums with bands in the 80s and 90s. And then I got the call from Brian Wilson, and, they're saying, listen, no, this is not a drum set gig. This is not a drum gig. This is a percussion gig, percussion vocals. I'm like, that's amazing because I knew the drummer didn't sing, you know, not that he couldn't sing. It's just that the drums and bass don't sing
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, yeah, I want that job because I get to sing. And they were hiring me for my voice because I have a kind of a wide range. I
I
go
know.
very low to
I know you do.
sudden I was a percussionist, and it's like a completely different job, a different instrument, and
Sure. For
it
sure.
became very, very exciting.
Well,
So
that was
yeah, I played with kind of unknown bands for years, and then through Brian I was able to meet and play with people whose records I bought in the '80s. My heroes.
yeah.
So it's been quite a. I mean, this day I still do it. I still play with people that I would have never met had I not played with Brian. So it was a great gift that I got.
Yeah, and I was sort of going to come on to that later, but as we've started that, we'll change the format a bit. 2003, you got that call, yeah? Was it 2003 or before?
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah. And how did you get that call? Why did they choose you? Why did Brian suddenly dig you out, or someone else dug you out? Because of the Wondermints, of course. Yeah, it was logical, wasn't it? You were one of the, yeah,
Yeah, they were friends of mine,
they're
and
friends. Yeah, yeah,
I built a reputation with people in LA, all these pop people, because I play pop music and I always really liked harmony music. And
absolutely.
when I moved to LA in '99, the band I wanted to play with or that I was looking for was pop music,
Yeah,
like melodic pop, pure song structure,
yeah.
3 minutes a minute, don't bore us, get to the chorus. That kind
Yeah.
of, you know,
Wow.
very, very specific, very specific. And not everyone knows what it is, and so I'm
Yeah,
referencing Boys, Birds, Badfinger, Raspberries,
yeah.
that kind of thing. And
Mm,
I moved to LA in the tail end of what was known as the LA Pop Underground.
okay.
And this was the Wondermints, Baby Lemonade,
Yeah.
uh, Stu and the Negro Problem,
Hmm.
um, Cockeyed Ghost, other bands. It was a whole scene, and I just fit right in that scene. And through that scene, people saw me play, and that's how I got on the radar of people in the Brian Wilson band.
Incredible.
And Darian was the one that called me up
Darren called you.
and said, "Mike D'Amico here. can you play percussion and vocals? We're releasing Smile.
Unbelievable,
And that was the one of the that was the call that you work for your whole life.
man. Incredible. And
So
the excitement you must have
yeah,
felt.
really, yeah. It was really, fear, excitement,
Mm,
because I knew what I was up against, which was to learn about, well, all of Smile and then 45 Beach Boy songs. And I had 1 month
mm,
because our rehearsals were going to start in January 2004 for a
yeah,
February 20th debut in Royal Festival Hall. So
incredible.
I
Yeah,
had all of December to learn absolutely verbatim everything. So
with
that
all the
was
uh,
it was
incredible, and the variety of percussion and the variety of differences on each Beach Boys song, plus Smile, which you had the whole kitchen sink that you played all over the place and singing at the same time. Man, absolutely amazing. And you added a lot of charisma to the show, actually. I mean, we were at Royal Festival Hall, and I think we were there first night, second night. And the fun that you guys were having, you could absolutely embrace it. You could feel it. It was just amazing. Spiritual experience.
it was for me that first night was the greatest night of my musical life
Yeah.
because of the applause after Act One,
Hmm.
something I can never forget. That was the moment. I think every musician or artist um, can say a particular moment or day or gig or whatever
Hmm.
um, that is the peak of their world, of their life.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's 5 minutes after Act One of Smile on February 20th, 2004,
Yeah.
because that was the first time the world had heard this stuff, and it was the first time that an audience had an opportunity to react to hearing it. And I was right there. It was just
I know.
all of Brian's work had paid off.
Yeah. And yeah, and we all had a tear. I couldn't believe it was like a miracle come true. And sing Pet Sounds first a year or two before, and then Smile. It was just and did you know about much about Smile music actually before? Had you heard the old cassettes and things like that, and the old bootleg bits and any of that?
Yeah, I had a guy. I was in Massachusetts in the 90s, and
Mhm.
I can't say I was a Beach Boy guy. I
Mhm.
was more of a Birds guy. I really love
Yeah,
the Birds.
yeah. Uh-huh.
That's my special band. And
Okay.
I'm in the record store. We had a great record store in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and it's called Mystery Train. And Mystery Train opened in 94 in Gloucester, and they had locations in Boston. And so they branched out. The owner moved to Gloucester, and I it was like one of the greatest. I'm a big record collector, really love records. I'm really into it.
Great,
And so
great.
I was going there every day. And I said, "Do you know this?" And he showed me a bootleg tape of Smile, the Lost Smile fragments. I
Wow.
said, he goes, "Here, play this.
Yeah.
Get back to me."
Wow.
And it was, and it was mind blowing. I couldn't believe it. And then, coincidentally, that same week, I saw a CD by a group called the Wonderments, and the hype sticker on the CD said, "The Wonderments." Brian Wilson says, "If I had these guys in 1967, I would have put Smile on the road."
Yeah. I know.
And I'm like, okay, now I got to Wonderments are. This is, and that the record was their first album, which just came out on vinyl this last year. double vinyl, the first Wonderments album.
Okay,
Amazing, amazing.
man.
CD blew my mind. The Smile tape blew my, and then fast forward mm, 10 years, and I was playing with both Brian.
Yes, it's an incredible, incredible story. And David Leith has often said the dominoes all need to line up, and if one doesn't line up, it probably won't happen. And a lot of those dominoes lined up for you, didn't they? By the sound of it, everything lined up for you and worked out.
Well, yeah, I'm not really a fatist,
Okay,
so I'm sort of is what it is kind of
okay,
guy. That's me.
okay.
Um, but I would say the concept of right place, right time. Oh yes, that's very true.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, the right things, right city, at the right time.
yeah.
Yes, yes. I think being in the path of luck, putting yourself there
Hmm.
is incredibly important for someone who
Yeah.
might be starting out or trying to do this or this kind of thing. Um, but the thing about it is that, for instance, I never married. I didn't get married. I didn't have a family. I didn't have kids.
Okay.
I'm not built that based on a career that could afford a family and kids and a house. I never
Mm,
had that.
okay.
Had I the freedom that I enjoyed, oh, I'm going to move to Los Angeles now, and I fill
Yeah.
up a van and drive, you know,
Yeah.
that may have, my life could afford that. Someone
Yeah.
else's life could not afford that.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point.
Really about it's what we want. We get what we want. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
what we want. Knowing want or if you want.
Hmm.
Do I really want this thing? Am I doing the things that prove that I want this thing? And
Hmm.
a lot of people, if they really that, they realize, I guess not. I guess I don't. I knew.
You
I
knew.
was like
Wow.
team
Focused.
driven to find the luck plane, as they say, to get on there.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I
definitely.
look at all of that, and that's about as I think that's about as far as I'll go.
Okay. Well, no, that's fine, because everyone's different in that respect. You know, um, and you obviously toured with Brian's band for about 15 years or something like that.
14
14 years.
years, yep. Yeah.
What was
Took
it
a
like?
week. Like it was late November.
Yeah.
Well, it was a vacation. It was like a working vacation, or as a holiday, as you call it.
Okay.
Um, it was a lot of work and joy. Um, Certainly, Brian, being Brian, he had issues and problems that
Mm,
we had to help him with. I say help him.
mm.
The best that I knew I could do was just to tell him I love him, tell him it's going to
Lovely.
be okay. The gig
Yeah.
was amazing, amazing. We love you. So working with a guy who's the band has got this. This is our guy. This is our boss. This is the man.
Yeah.
With these special needs, made the job much bigger and better because there was so much love
Yeah.
in the room.
Yeah.
Because of Brian, who he was. Whereas somebody with those facilities in working order, those needs are not there. So you have, you know what I mean?
I do.
There's this
Absolutely. Absolutely.
very
And
emotional thing. So it made the gigs, it made the experience of traveling around the world with this man so much mean so much more.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And how about when you were recording together? How about the recording? I mean, you were present on a lot of the albums, weren't you? Lucky Old Sun, Smile, Gershwin,
but
uh, oh, Christmas. What was it like
yeah,
working with Brian in the studio as well? I mean, what sort of experiences did you have there with him? and the other guys. So have you got any special moments to share with us?
He was less involved in arranging songs. He would hear something and he'd say, "Let's do that," but it didn't happen a lot. Or if he heard something he didn't like, he'd say, "I can you do this instead?"
Okay.
But when it comes to vocal arrangements, he was there from the very start. He knew exactly what he wanted. He got us around the piano on any song and every song, depending on what level or depth we had gone already. Brian never lost the ability to arrange vocals. His
Wonderful.
illness never did anything to them. It was like, "Ah, the band's doing great. They'll get the song together." But
Yeah.
vocally, he's like, "Oh, I have to do this." It was
Wow.
amazing because
Wow.
when he went into that, it was like, I mean, I oftentimes, I mean, he was 100%. There was no illness that it didn't. You'd never know that he had any problems of any kind. He was just.
Incredible.
When we got around the piano, those were very very deep, um, important moments for all of us when that happened
Yeah.
when he.
Sure. Oh, incredible.
So
And boy, does it
yeah,
give it.
for seven, I was on 6 or 7 records and like I guess maybe 4 DVD releases. So everything between 2003 and 2017, I was on, and amazing experiences in the studios. All these studios in Hollywood, Capitol Records, Sunset Sound, Ocean Way. It was really terrific.
Wow. And it's almost like where on earth could you possibly go from there? I mean, you've hit that
But
high, and obviously you've made. We want to talk about your albums that you've made because they're great, man. And all the musical influences in those, and they all come out. I mean, I've been listening to them. I need to get them, by the way. Are they all on CD, your albums?
yeah, they're on CD and they're on vinyl.
I'm just going to move this little character who's trying to butt in on everything. I'm just going to put him outside a second.
Oh, what a beautiful cat.
Yeah, he's beautiful, man. Yeah, he's great. Sorry about that. You don't know how he got in. Yeah, that's Fizz. He loves man. He loves music, and I was playing the backing vocals to This Whole World the other day, and he was lying by the computer with his head on the computer. I mean, he just loved that.
That's
Yeah,
that's amazing.
isn't it? I know,
Yeah,
man.
great
All
tune.
those wow, and all those tracks that have come out from
I
somewhere,
see,
and
I see the graphics of my records in your background. I can't decide what they are. You see what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're a bit blurred. Well, you've got your first album here, Day and Tonight.
Well,
Do you remember making
oh
that
no,
one?
I see what they are. I think you said that you don't have them, and I see them.
Yeah. No, I don't have them because I haven't been able to get them in time. All I have is my cardboard cutout.
Ah, they're cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
Ah, understand what they were.
Yeah,
Cardboard cutouts.
and we get what we want. And my wife loves the gratitude blues cover. She loves that. And there you are, of course, with Brian. And yeah, so I've got to get. The problem is, Nelson, I don't have a deck. My deck in the UK went broke, and since we moved to Spain, I haven't got another deck. So my vinyl sits in a great big heap. Most of them are scratched Beach Boys albums, and
Right.
I guess I find CDs sort of, you know, I'm not a purist when it comes to the actual ambience and everything, but a CD for me, I can put it on and let the thing play and not turn it over and not scratch it and everything else. So you know, I've got millions of CDs. Well, I've got millions of both, but
Yeah.
I need to get yours for sure. So I
Yeah.
don't know if I get those, and I'll put a link obviously when we finish the video. But yeah, I need to get you. If we can get them all on CD, I'll be a happy bloke.
Yeah.
And I tell you, those influences, obviously, the Byrds come through, and George Harrison and others. I'm trying to think. Heard a little bit of Glenn Campbell on a couple of your tracks. I think some of the guitar
I
work
don't
is
think I know him.
really wonderful, and I've got some really. I love. And Baby Let Your Hair Grow Long. You did the Brian song, and you've done. I love Time and Tide Agree. That's
Yeah,
that's a lovely song. And the a
uh,
cappella one you did,
kind of a
man,
David Cross
David
trip.
Crosby.
Time.
Yeah, that's it. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Yeah, yeah, a lot of influence in there. It sounds just like them, some of it. Not like just like them, but the influence is there for sure, you know. Man, you must be proud of those. They're lovely albums.
Yeah, they turned out okay. I just last year I put out an anthology. This label in England, and sorry, here in Burbank, California, wanted to put out kind of an anthology of from all the records, and we put that out last year. It turned out
Great.
amazing with a new song, one new song on it, and that's
Okay.
out there.
So is that called Anthology, Nelson Bragg Anthology? What is that?
It's called Melody de Nelson,
Okay.
kind of a Serge Gainsbourg, if you know that man from the '60s, whose
Yeah,
album,
sure.
yeah, I called mine Melody de Nelson, Melody of Nelson, and
Okay.
yeah, it was really great. That I'm very proud, very honored to have a label. You know, they're great. They put out great music. The Big Stir Records from
Big
Burbank,
Stir, yeah.
California.
Yeah, Big
Yeah,
Stir.
they've got the Strawberry Alarm Clock this year, putting
Okay.
out a new Alarm Clock album, which is like, unbelievable. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. And you know, your last album, The Gratitude Blues in 2021, I love the write-up on Bandcamp, where you talk about how you needed this to for healing for yourself, for people that you knew, and you know, how you needed to make an album in that time where you were locked down, we were all locked down. And that was a great effort. And obviously people did their contributions and sent them to you by email and things, did they? Because you weren't obviously playing together, I guess. A lot of it wasn't possible, was it?
well, yes, it was. I was working in a studio in Burbank, near Burbank, where I was, and um, I worked, with masks.
Oh, okay.
I play a lot, so I'm able to play all the drums, acoustic guitars,
Yeah.
all the singing. And then
Yeah.
when I had like I'd come in, everyone wore masks,
Okay.
and came in, they wore masks, and then I got a lot of remote recording from people like Roger Manning Jr., Jim
Okay.
Babyak from um, Smithereens,
Smithereens. Yeah.
and others. It was yeah. I just really needed to define my time during this terrible tragedy
Yeah.
with kind of artistic statement, so
Mm.
that I didn't remember those years only as this period of great death, but also I did this artistic thing that, you know what I mean? And it was in tribute also to everybody who,
Yeah.
just a terrible. It was very, very sad. I took
Wasn't
it
it?
very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was
took
a big struggle.
I
Yeah.
felt like I think a lot of people did records in that window of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
A friend of
yeah.
mine here in Madrid, she made an album called Sweet Silence in that time, which the title was sort of appropriate in a way. And yeah, she made that in lockdown. And very, very blessed person, actually. She's one of Spain's Brian's biggest fans, no doubt about it. And the influence of Brian to her music is, I mean, she can lay down layers of harmonies like unbelievable, really. I'll perhaps send you a link sometime to some of her music. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a hard time, and a lot of guys did things in that period. They really did, didn't they? For sure. And great work, my friend. Well done.
Thank you very much.
No, and I've only just really discovered new music because, I hadn't heard of Nelson Bragg when I first came to the Royal Festival Hall. It was that guy doing all that percussion. He's quite good, isn't he? You know, I mean, you're on fire like all the guys, but your percussion was outstanding. It sort of brought the whole show alive, as well as having the Stockholm strings and horns and all of
Yeah,
that as well.
there's just certainly for the Smile music, there was just a lot of sound making from a percussionist point of view. Uh, Also, this noise making at the during vegetables
Yeah,
and Mr. O'Leary's cow.
yeah,
I became music, the noise director of those songs. So I was able to,
yeah,
I literally got in my car and looked around Los Angeles, all around Los Angeles for all of these whistles and weird sounds, slide whistles, train whistles, wolf whistles, slide whistles, all kinds of stuff. Um,
incredible.
and then I sort of gave it to particular musicians in the band and said, okay, here's the parts.
Yeah,
So it was just a lot of fun during the Smile record and a lot of unusual sounds during the Smile record. So yes, I was particularly busy playing in that particular show,
yeah, no,
which it looked like that, which it was just yeah, and there's just a ton of vocals. It was very challenging,
yeah,
but like some, wouldn't it be nice has timpani, sleigh bells, tambourine, and you have to try and play all of them when they happen while singing your part.
yeah,
So it's like a little dance you're doing like this. You're singing and you're singing, 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 and then that's over, and then you have to grab the tambourines and get going while you're singing, and then there's a sleigh bell. So you're singing, but your arms are like reaching while you're singing, grabbing something, playing it, putting it down, grabbing something. And that was the job. That was the job that I was tasked to do.
amazing.
And then
Amazing.
a lot of the show was just me and a tambourine. You know.
Okay, for sure. That's amazing. And of course, it was a terrible year last year for us all, wasn't it? And I don't know if you were at any of Brian's services or anything in remembrance of him,
Yeah.
but that was a
I,
right. I think I
yeah.
saw something from Facebook from you. I can't remember now. It might have been, but it must have been a very hard time for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't with Brian in the last years, uh, so I didn't see the decline. I did not see him in a wheelchair.
Right.
That was something that started around at like shortly after I left.
Okay.
There some canceled tours or gigs or whatever. Um, and then I'd see photos of him, and
Mm,
he changed physically so much in like a 5 year window. Like wow. So I
really.
mean, I knew I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't really know that what was going on,
Okay.
but I kind of knew that he was probably not long.
Mm,
So I don't know. It was
no,
a surprise that he had passed away,
yeah.
and it was, but at the same time, not unexpected. He was 11 days away from being 83.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
when
know.
you look at, say, well, most people thought he wouldn't get out of the 70s,
Yeah. Very true.
in 1970s, and yet here he is.
Yeah.
So I think that people feel like, wow, he made 82. How
Yeah.
great is that?
Yeah. For sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
So there was just a lot of gratitude that he made it that long.
Yeah.
Um, I think that overpowered my sadness. It really
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was able to see him today in 2024. I saw him at his wife's memorial, so I was able to say hello, and he remembered me, and he said these really wonderful things to me.
Oh,
I was just
wow.
like,
Oh, man.
complete circle kind of situation with him, where I was able to communicate with him before he died. I was
Well
really
done.
happy about that.
Oh, yeah, big time. Wow.
Yeah,
And losing Melinda was so tough for him. I guess that was probably the start of a lot of decline for him. Awful, really. But yeah, so yeah, it was a shock to us all for sure. And we have to keep moving. His music legacy will stay forever, and you guys will carry on with it.